are down at the county assessors, and I'm going to give everybody a few minutes to get in here, and I'm going to do a little lesson on some of the documents that I got today for one of our investigations. This is Susan Bassi down at the county assessors in San Jose, California. This is where there are liens on properties placed. This is where there are liens on if you have a court judgment against you. And right now we're looking at liens related to criminal restitution. That is somebody who's been through the criminal courts and they've been ordered to pay. Hi, Mushroom Manny. Nice to see you in here. Mushroom Manny, are you a moderator? Because I'd like to make you a moderator. One of my moderators is really busy. I just added you, Mushroom Manny, as a moderator. So, Mushroom Manny, if I have a sound problem, if you could let me know. And also, if people start making comments that are off topic or trollish like, I trust you to be able to make and I appreciate how long you've been in here watching what we've been doing. So, I'm a little scrappy today. I do have Puppy. And I'm down here. Here is the first thing I want to tell you is the records I got is a 3-page document on a San Jose City Council member, Omar Torres. I'm looking at Peter Ortiz too, but Omar Torres, who was convicted of child molestation, and he's serving an 18-year prison sentence. And he has a restitution order for $780,000. So when I went to get these documents, they actually charged me $8 for 3 pages, which seems a little bit like a junk tax. I do have Puppy with me, and Mushroom Manny, you are going to be a great moderator. So this is the county assessor's office, and it's also where people come now to it's actually an old tech campus, and I put in I just went in there and took some pictures with Puppy because they have some very strange art for a county building. One of it actually looks like a pool of BLOOD coming out of the door. And so I took pictures of Puppy on that as if we were doing an investigation for something far more sinister. But I want to tell you, first of all, these documents cost $8 to get, which seemed excessive. There are laws about not charging excessive rates for copies. So if you need a copy of something, if you own property and you need a copy of something, a document, get ready to pay those kind of fees. So that's the first thing that was a little interesting to me. But we also found, I've been down here a number of times because I've been investigating when attorneys get court appointed to represent kids, or you have a court case and you have a fee waiver and things aren't paid, and later you get charged for something and they get a judgment against you. It's called an abstract judgment. And those abstract judgments actually get registered down here at the county building. So we can get information that we can't get in the courts about juvenile cases, about privacy issues, and other things. And when there's an abstract judgment, it will come up on the person's name here. And that could be for state tax liens, federal tax liens, court judgments, and there is just a wealth of information inside these county assessor offices. So for those of you who are dealing with attorneys related to a family law case, and I've seen a real increase in these minors counsel, the attorneys that aren't constitutionally defined as needed, but they get appointed in these family law cases, and then they rack up the fees. The parents don't have the money to pay them. Sometimes county taxpayers pay them, and sometimes the judges just allow the attorneys to get an abstract judgment, and then they are putting, whoever just said Omar Torres was at the time worked for Magdalena Carrasco, District 5. Yes, he did. And I'm going to get to that in a minute, but let me go through the documents that I'm getting down here. So we found all these divorce attorneys that have liens on people's houses for either their own clients that couldn't pay them, or because they were court appointed as a private judge or a minors counsel, and they just rack up these liens. So when people go to move or sell their house, these attorneys are going to get paid out of the equity of the home because a lien gets paid before the sale can go through. And so we also see state liens and federal liens. We can see a lot about the economic health of these individuals. But I was down here today because Omar Torres, who is now convicted and sitting in state prison, we're getting the jail records because apparently a lot of high-profile politicians visited him in the jail. We're going to get the state records and the county records on his visitors. We are also looking at assets that he had, which would have been disclosed in his political campaigns. He has to disclose not his residence, but he has to disclose any other property that he had. And he did disclose one property, but the address and the APN number was redacted. So we had to do a little searching and we found the property. And we also found that the property was transferred after he had a before he had a restitution order, but after he took a plea. And it was transferred to his partner, who was a court-appointed advocate for children. And so we're following not just the money, but we're following the associates of Omar Torres, his political associates. We're looking at his treasurer, Jordan Eldridge. We're looking at what he disclosed during his political campaign. We're looking at the signs of what everybody missed, because the psych report that is in the public court file on this former city council member is shocking. And for a city council member to be convicted of child molestation 2 years into his candidacy, and this Omar Torres was head of the Silicon Valley Democrats Committee. He was involved in local politics from the time he was very young. And so we're following that history. We're looking at the nonprofits that he and his associates worked for. We're taking the psych report and the court documents and we're comparing it to the other public documents. But we're now, I don't know what's going on with something hit a retouch. I don't know what that means. So we're looking at the fact that it appears that Omar Torres's sister, Jacqueline Torres, who is the one that signed this over as his power of attorney, transferred the equity in the home to Omar Torres's intimate partner. I don't think they were married or registered as domestic partners, but he transferred the property, and he has a restitution order for $780,000, and that would avoid the survivor from collecting on the restitution orders. So we're investigating it because it looks not only criminal, and we're going to get some lawyers to talk about that, but we're going to go look at the political documents about what he disclosed and how he missed the signs and who missed the signs and who knew or should have known. And it really feels like a little mini Epstein files to me. So that's what we're currently working on. I'm going to do some writing and report on it. I'm going to go down to the city. I'm going to show you guys how to find the political documents. But for the rest of you who are not investigating a city council member who has been incarcerated, you should probably know about the records that you can get here at your county assessor's office, because this happens in every county. If you're investigating somebody and you want to know about their financial health, you can look and see if they have tax liens. It'll tell you the year that they had tax liens. If you're investigating a political opponent, it will also tell you that. And so we're going to keep looking at all of those things. And no, just move back a little because I'm going to stand in front of that sign. I have some camera people back up today. And I just want to give a shout out from everyone from Mushroom Manny, who helps in moderating, and everybody who comes down to record when I'm going and doing these things, because we are taking on some very powerful people. We're looking at what the district attorney did and didn't do in this case. Omar Torres was ordered to pay $780,000 to his victim, and we're looking at comparisons of other cases. We just found another case where a young man who was involved in family court for 17 years has a restitution order for $5,000 for similar issues, only the judgment was against his father. And so we're looking at, as parents are dealing with children that are, there is the burden when your children are under the age of 18, you are legally responsible for them. And we just saw that in a judgment here. And interestingly enough, that judgment came about from juvenile court, which is confidential and we can't see the files in. And there is a related court of appeal case where it's in initials, so we can't see the names, but we know what's going on. And then you see these judgments that are registered at the county, and that gives us a glimpse of the prosecutor. Her name was, is it Lauren? Lauren Agato, and she only got a $5,000 restitution in this case for a young girl out of Los Altos, and that's kind of tied to our Women SV investigation. So when I started doing this and using this platform, people commented a lot about the media, about the, here we'll flip around and watch the Brinks guy coming to the, you guys can watch, there goes all the money, there goes your money, Brinks safety security truck, county. My $8 that I just had to pay cash for the documents is in the Brinks truck. So we're looking at these documents, we're looking at how to get you guys information. I can't report on every case and every injustice, but I do try to give you information so that you can do it yourself. And this county assessor office, for all the minors council that are putting liens on properties of parents that when they represent their children, I just have a really hard time with how that is in the best interest of any kid. They get a lawyer, they didn't ask for a lawyer, they are underage and they can't consent to signing a retainer agreement or being represented by the lawyer. This is not for juvenile court to defend them in charges. They get a lawyer because their parents are divorced. Those lawyers jack up the fees and then start filing liens on parents' paychecks, on their little bit of property they have. And so it can even be on your tax returns. If you're ever getting a refund, the lawyers are going to get paid. And so we're looking at how this affects you. I know this affects a lot of people. I know these costs are staggering. If you've ever been charged with a crime and it's been dismissed, they can come after you for that. I also recently learned of something that was really interesting, and that is that if parents are indigent, meaning you're considered poor and you get county services, when you die, if your children have the means or have ever promised to take care of you, the county can go after your children. And most people don't know that, but there's a family code section that allows that to happen. So we're looking how out of control courts and government really can affect your lives in the way of a lien that's on your house that is going to get paid if you sell it. You don't have the freedom to just sell your house without getting those attorneys paid. Thank you very much, Least Trustworthy Weasel. I appreciate that. And I would say that with your handle of Least Trustworthy Weasel, I have a lot more people that are least trustworthy, I'm sure, than you are. So we're going to continue. We're going down to the city of San Jose right now with these documents, and we're going to continue our investigation. Somebody texted me, was I okay this week, because I haven't been posting a lot of videos. The reason I haven't been posting videos is because I've been doing hard investigation on Omar Torres and what happened to the victim in that case that the DA is giving the Karen Sununu Towery Award to. And we want to see how DAs are doing their jobs with respect to these survivors that then the DAs use in their reelection campaigns. So again, I know sometimes some of you follow me for one reason because of what I do with my work on police or county government or the courts or family court, and this is really all connected. This one investigation is all connected to all of it, and it's probably one of the more challenging investigations that we've ever done. So again, a reminder of the difference between an investigative reporter and a beat reporter is an investigative reporter doesn't just stop at reporting the who, what, where, when, but we look more for the why. Whoever said, do I have any more information about Magdalena Carrasco? Let me tell you what I know about Magdalena Carrasco. Omar Torres' psych report talks about that he went to work for her in 2015. I know that she was supported by James Towery and Karen Sununu Towery at the time, that they were very active in her campaign, which seemed odd for a former very powerful prosecutor and also for a family court judge to be so interested in that. But at the time when I started being aware of that, I wasn't aware that there was that Bar Bench Media Police Committee operating. And that was the group of judges and prosecutors and city attorneys and police chiefs and certain reporters. I wasn't invited, I didn't even know about it. There were reporters from NBC and from the San Jose Mercury and Los Altos Town Crier, I think sometimes the Palo Alto Daily. So we could see that these media groups were getting in and getting cozy with judges, and they were meeting once a month off record with county jury funding to talk about their views, opinions, and ideas off record, and they could influence the headlines of what we've read. So right now there's a lot of headlines in Santa Clara County about the overturning of the Sierra Lamar case. That was a case that never felt right from the get-go. It was presided over by Judge Vanessa Zecker, who later became a family court judge, and they convicted somebody for unliving and kidnapping a young girl, and they never found any evidence other than a little DNA in the crime lab. So for those of you who've been through the criminal court and seen the injustices, we are tying that together with what people see in the family court as well. So I appreciate you. I just came in to do a little bit of a live stream because I wanted to tell everybody what I'm working on and why I haven't dropped videos recently. I'll be coming up with more videos that we're going to be dropping soon, because this Omar Torres case that we've started covering, and we didn't start covering it until after he took a plea deal. And now we're looking at the court files, we're looking at his political records, and we're looking at all the nonprofits where he worked or his partner worked, and we're looking at what the city held out. And there are really some outrageous things that I've seen in the file. And so as our district attorney, Jeff Rosen, who has been in office for 16 years, stands up and holds himself out as this great, noble prosecutor who is keeping everybody safe, we're going to show you the backstory on that the mainstream media will not report on. And yes, Magdalena Carrasco is in our crosshairs of our investigation, and we're going down to get records on her right now. So thank you guys for coming in, for always supporting. You know, when you give the little gifts here, or you have a membership, or somebody sent me, when I did a little short, somebody sent $20 in that letter about Cindy Hendrickson being removed from the bench. And I appreciate everything you guys do, whether you send me any support that you can send me or not. Your support is in the comments and showing up for the live streams. But when you do send me a little bit like that day in particular, I use that money for gas on my Omar Torres thing. So I want you guys to all know that when you appreciate my work and my work has impact to you, it does pay it forward, and it allows me to keep going forward and investigating these things. And right now, we are on the city of San Jose, the records, the politics, the politician who is in state prison, what's going on in the jails. I did also learn this, that you can put a lien on somebody's books in county jail or in prison. And when you do that, that means that, say they have $500, and this is just talking off the top of my head, but if, say it's $500 that you have, somebody puts on your books, and there's a lien on your account, they might only let you use $50 of that. So we have heard that Omar Torres has a lien on his books, and we've heard that he's had a hard time in prison. Child abusers usually are the low on the totem pole in prison, and he was recently transferred. He was in a prison with Cain Velasquez, we believe, for a short time, and that's a boxer in the area that the DA prosecuted because the DA wasn't going after child abuse, and Cain Velasquez took things into his own hands, and he ended up taking a plea deal, but he went to prison for a short period. He just reportedly got out, but he was in the same prison with Omar Torres, and we are hearing that Omar Torres has been getting beaten up in the state prison, and they recently moved him down to Lancaster. And this is not uncommon, that the prison population really doesn't like certain crimes. There's kind of a hierarchy, and so we're going to be reporting on that. So my investigative reporting project on Omar Torres is really going to touch on every aspect, from politics to nonprofits to the prison system and the court system, and I think you guys will find it really interesting. And we're going to talk about the failings of the DA, because remember, district attorneys are always elected. And this district attorney has been in office for 16 years, and we're going to talk about what that looks like. the cases he prosecutes, the ones he doesn't. He just also, having the Sierra Lamar case overturned is really something that is rattling to the community. So we're going to talk about DAs that don't do their job and let the bad guys go free, and the ones that don't prosecute the bad guys because they're supporting their political campaigns. So thanks you guys for coming in. Yes, it is a tangled web, and we are going to watch the spiders spin it and report on it for you. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mushroom Mountie, for moderating, and for everybody for all the support you always give me. And it's really appreciated, and it fuels me as we go forward. So now we're going to